Okay, today you're going to be reading an informational passage that gives just a brief and broad overview of the continent of Europe. And we're reading this before we begin our study of the Holocaust. So this is just to give you just a little bit of background of the continent where the Holocaust took place. Europe is the second smallest continent after Australia. Surprisingly, there are 44 countries in Europe. Over 700 million people live in Europe. European ideas are everywhere in the world. You can see examples of European culture, language, and buildings all around the world. In sports, European soccer is very popular. Soccer teams from Europe have gone to the World Cup finals every year except 1930 and 1950. Many people say that the British, Italian, and Spanish soccer leagues are the world's best. Cycling is also very popular in Europe, especially in France. The Tour de France is the biggest bicycle race in the world. In 1903, when the race first began, racers had to ride along the entire border of France. That's a long distance. And boys and girls, as Ms. Johnson is reading this, I want you to be, again, noting those text features of informational text being in bold words, pictures, titles, things of that nature, okay? Now, it says here, in industry, Germany makes the most cars in Europe. In fact, if you visit Germany, you can go on a tour of the BMW factory. You can also go on a tour of the Porsche factory in Stuttgart, Germany. England is famous for china and pottery. Of course, the Champagne region in France is famous for its wine. Only a certain famous bubbly wine from this area can be called by the name Champagne. Flower farming is an important industry in Holland. Holland is famous for its tulips. Europe is also famous for its food. The oldest cookbook in Europe was called De Re Coquinaria, or The Art of Cooking. It was written in Latin. There is much controversy over the identity of the book's author. Some people think the book was written by a very good cook named Marcus Gavius Apicius. Others don't think that this book came from him. The book does not tell how to prepare the dishes, but it does tell what to put in each dish. European historical architecture are among the most well-known in the world. One example of a famous architectural structure is called Stonehenge, which is in England. Stonehenge has many very large stones set up in circles. No one knows why the stones were set up that way, because it was at a time before history was recorded. Many people think Stonehenge is holy. In addition to Stonehenge, the Acropolis in Athens, Greece, is also very famous for its architectural structures. The Acropolis is a flat-topped hill which lies about 150 meters above sea level. Many historical temples and other buildings were built on the Acropolis. The Acropolis is a huge tourist site. About 14 million people visit this location each year. Modern European buildings are also tourist sites. The Eiffel Tower is the 5th tallest building in France. When it was built in 1889, it was the world's tallest building. More than 2 billion people now have visited the Eiffel Tower since it was built. It was named after Gustave Eiffel, who has designed it. It is now a symbol of France. The year 2009 marks the 150th birthday of another famous tourist site in Europe, Big Ben. Big Ben is located atop the Westminster Palace in London, England. Big Ben is the large four-faced chiming clock in the world. Chiming clocks are clocks that use bells to make their sound. Big Ben is a universal symbol of the United Kingdom. Many European cities are famous for their churches and castles. The Sistine Chapel in the Vatican is the place where cardinals, which are very high Catholic bishops, meet to pick a new pope. The ceiling of the Sistine Chapel was painted by the artist Michelangelo. The Cathedral of Seville, Spain, is also very magnificent. This grand cathedral is beautifully decorated with outstanding colors. It is also the place where Christopher Columbus is buried. England is now getting ready for the 2012 Olympics. About 4,000 companies and 15,000 workers are working to get the city of Stratford ready. The workers are building a new shopping center and many new hotels with about 2,000 hotel rooms just for Olympics visitors. Since so many people live in Europe, they expect many visitors. As the Olympic planners say, London, England is less than a 3-hour flight away for more than 300 million people. And girls, as you can see here, you will have questions, comprehension questions, text-dependent questions about what you've just read, as well as you are going to have vocabulary questions that require you to identify the synonym for words, certain words in the text. Okay, and then you're also going to have to use your context clues to help you identify the meaning of certain words that were highlighted in the text as well. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over the questions. On this particular side, number 1 says, what is the name of the famous European bicycle race? Number 2, champagne is. Number 3, what was left out of the oldest European cookbook? Number 4, what is the Acropolis? Number 5, what has its 150th birthday in the year 2009? And number 6, why are the people in England so busy? So what I want you to do is go back and again revisit the text, because we know all good readers read the text at least 3 times, especially if it's really short. And I want you to make sure that you are able to justify your answers with paragraph numbers. You are going to answer your questions by clicking the submit button. And remember, once you click the submit button, you're going to respond, and then you're going to click the submit button again, and then confetti should fall down your screen to alert you that you have completed the assignment. Okay, so if there are no questions at this time, Ms. Johnson's going to go ahead and I'm going to take us back to the top of our informational passage here, and I am going to release you to go ahead and get started. Please do take your time, do not rush, and again, remember to use your hashtag legit strategy. It is posted here in the classroom as well as in your toolbox in your Canvas course. Okay, so Ms. Johnson will definitely see you on the other side.